watching Thread Life with Belle. Her live show is starting soon. Quilting, teaching, sewing, making lovely things. Come on and join us. It's almost time for Thread Life with Belle. Yeah, I said the live show is starting soon, so keep your YouTubes tuned to Thread Life with Belle, with Belle, with Belle on YouTube, starting very soon. So stay tuned, Belle is getting ready for you. Quilting, teaching, sewing, making lovely things. Come on and join us. It's almost time for Thread Life with Belle. Yeah, I said the live show is starting soon, so keep your YouTubes tuned to Thread Life with Belle. Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life with Belle, starting soon.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Are you able to see me? Hopefully we're live. Sometimes we forget to click the button, but we did today. Oh, I am just so glad to see so many familiar faces in here. Angela, Lori, Brenda, Royce. Hey, Royce. Is this the Royce from Springfield, up at my guild I used to be at? Megan, are you new? I don't recognize your name. Hi, Shelly from Oklahoma. Oh, it's so good. You know, it really makes my heart warm when I see some of you coming back every single time I do one of these. So thank you so much. It means so much to me. And welcome to those of you that are new to Thread Life with Belle. I think this may be my 8th live that I've done. And, oh, good. Okay, thanks for letting me know you can see and hear me good. I started this April, like 1st of April. I think it was April 2nd. So we're now beginning month 2 of Thread Life with Belle. And I haven't been on in, I think, since last Friday. It's been a week. I had a huge order of my jumbo alphabet and number clips that came in. I had 28 massive boxes, 1,600 units I had to go through, get all those ready to ship before I leave for H&H Americas, which is a trade show, a quilting trade show in Chicago, and I leave for that early next week. So we didn't have a live on Monday. Quilt Husband and I kind of went out of town. I was super sore from doing so much gardening. I went and got a massage, and we just had kind of a couple of days off. So Megan, you've caught it once. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you love it. Thanks for coming back. So today's a little different. We're not going to sew anything. We're not going to quilt anything. I'm actually going to talk about Quilt Folk. Now, some people may not be familiar with it. I've been a subscriber of Quilt Folk this is going on my 4th year. And I've got all of my editions out here. So I've been a subscriber even before they featured me in this April. This just came out. I just got it this last week. This is the Arkansas edition. So it just really warmed my heart. Crazy enough, it arrived on the day I turned 50, right? So it was just kind of a milestone to come on a day that, you know, I'm starting a new decade. But I'll show you kind of what's in the magazine. I've got different volumes here. Now, microphone, or I'm sorry, the camera is set up so that you actually can't read the stories. And that's on purpose because I don't really want to violate any kind of copyright, because really, you know, you want to buy these and read these yourself. So I'm just going to kind of give you an overview just so you can see some of the beautiful photography. I want you to be able to see how well this journal's put together. If any of you are from any of the states here, I'll kind of let you look and see, you know, what that looks like. And you actually can order a lot of these issues if you want single issues that represent your state of quilting. And also, you could get a regular subscription. Now, they did not pay me to do this episode. They did not give me anything free for this episode. I am just doing this because I love Quilt Folk Magazine. Now, it's called a magazine, but it's really a journal. It's like a book in here. So we're going to talk about the 8 things that make this different and unique and why you might want to take a look. We're going to go to the website. We're going to kind of scroll through that together. You can kind of see kind of what it's about. And there's even a section in there you can buy things. You can actually buy patterns from those that have been featured in there. Really neat things like Dutch dish towels, and I think I have a pincushion kit you can put together. They have a really lot of neat stuff on there. It's a class act. So I just can't say enough good things about Quilt Folk, and I'll tell you a little bit about my experience of them coming here and doing the photo shoot and being interviewed for it. And you never know. What happens is when you're a subscriber, lots of times you'll get an email if you're a subscriber and they're going to come to your state. So they function about 6 months ahead of time. So they came here in January for my photo shoot. And the interview they did with me was virtually in December, and then this came out in April. So around close to 6 months. So what'll happen is if you're a subscriber to Quilt Folk, a couple things. One, you might get an email that says, hey, we're going to be coming to, you know, Texas, or we're going to be coming to Kentucky. And, you know, do you know of anybody in your state that you think is unique that might want to be featured? Or you could even, you know, mention it yourself if you know, want to be able to possibly be featured in the magazine and you think, you know, there's some story there. But also what happens is other people tell them about you. And so oftentimes that's kind of how it ends up. It's kind of a surprise because other people know that you live in one of these states and you maybe do something interesting or unusual, or you have kind of a crazy story like me with just only starting this business in 2021. I began quilting in 2020 and then started this business in 2021. So it was kind of like this trajectory that I never imagined happening, of kind of the things that have worked out as opportunities for me. So anyway, there's different stories that are in there about the quilters. So I want to kind of highlight for you. One, Quilt Husband's putting the link in there for you for the Arkansas edition. If you want to, I have a code that they gave me. It's a coupon. I don't get any kickbacks or anything from it, but it's Bell QF34. That stands for Bell Quilt Folk Edition 34. That's for the Arkansas edition. You can get 20% off, or you can use that code for a subscription. So the way it works is there's 4 of these that come out a year, okay? And there's one every quarter. So there's one in January, there's one in April, there's one in July, and there's one in October, all right? So 4 times a year. And it basically ends up being, the subscription is like $80 for the whole year. So it's about $20 for each one of these. But you'll see, like, this is not your regular quilting magazine on thin paper that have ads. There's 0 ads in any of the Quilt Folk magazines. These are actually more of a coffee table collector's item that you literally would put out on your coffee table. I purchased some extra ones of these to go in our Airbnbs and the retreat center to be there for them. And then of course I gave a copy to Dad because Dad was featured in here with me as part of the quilt retreat. That was also featured in here, and then Quilt Husband's in here too. So anyway, needless to say, these are like collector's items, and I literally have collected them. I keep them over. You'll actually probably see, and I'll show it to you in a bit, one of the photos in the very back is of where I keep my magazines and stuff, so they're all bookended together. But I'm going to show you the overhead view of kind of all of these that I've collected since 2020. I think I started subscribing the end of 2020 when I was quilting as just a hobby. And you actually can buy back issues. So if you've missed ones, as long as they're still in print, you can get back issues of Quilt Folk. So let me tell you a little bit about it. I've written a few things down so I don't forget. One, it's ad-free. There's no ads at all in it. So it's strictly supported through our subscriptions. And I'm a paid subscriber. So I'm not, like I said, none of this is for free or anything like that. And really it's dedicated to telling the heartfelt stories of quilters throughout the country. And some do just really intricate, amazing, work. Some are like me that it's nothing fancy with my quilts. They're more traditional. They don't belong really in a museum or anything. It's just, there's kind of a crazy story with being a beginner and all of these things that just really happened so fast for me was really kind of what my story was about. There are some amazing talented people that are featured in here, and I think you'll really enjoy those. So like I said, it's not really a traditional magazine. It's really a coffee table type collector's item that belongs there. There's also really, really beautiful photography. So Azuri and Trevor, those were the two. They flew in. They travel throughout your state, and it's usually about a week and a half time, a period of time that they're here. And when they came in January, we had an unprecedented snowfall. Now we get all 4 seasons here in Arkansas, and we get snow, but this was a foot of snow here. Like, we don't usually get a foot. We might get 5, 6, 7 inches, but a foot was, we don't get those as often. So they actually got stuck for 2 extra days, and they actually had to put mine on the tail end of their trip because they were stuck in Morrilton, and they were doing the feature on my friend Jim. Jim and I are in the same quilt guild in Little Rock, and you'll see him. He looks like Santa Claus in here. He's just the sweetest guy, and oh my goodness, he's been doing this for so long and has amazing stuff, so you'll have to check out Jim. And so needless to say, it started snowing when they were there. So you'll see Jim's photos have snow all in it. He's actually holding up a quilt with snowflakes in the quilt and then coming down. And then by the time they got to me, it had stopped, and then some of it had melted. So you won't see as much snow in some of mine. So that's why you're going to see that in this edition. But they come and they make you feel super comfortable. So for me, in full transparency, I had had a hysterectomy a few months before they came, and I had gained quite a bit of weight and was really self-conscious for a photo shoot. But it's like, it's Quilt Folk. Of course, it's like, I'm gonna have to make it work, right? Even if I'm not feeling my best or feeling as photogenic. And so she was really sweet with trying to get the right angles where, my chin wasn't so huge and just all of the stuff at the time. And I still was kind of swollen and had some inflammation too. So anyway, long story short, Azuri is a beautiful photographer, and then her husband, Trevor, he brought a drone and did like drone coverage over the bluffs at where our retreat center is. And then he helped kind of stage things as well. So it's a team, their husband and wife team that come. And then the journalist that did the interview with me, we did it over Zoom. So when you read about that, we were on Zoom, so she could kind of see the background and the backdrop, and I had my electric fireplace going, and I had on a sweatshirt, so she talks a little bit about that. She's a former Wall Street Journal writer, and her name is Meg Cox, and you should check her out just go to Meg Cox on social media or on her website, and she has a newsletter. She travels all over. She has some really amazing, intricate stories. She just came back from India. She knows everyone and everything, so she was really fascinating to work with too. So that's Meg. So then the editor was involved. She emailed me a lot. We were trying to make sure that Trevor and Azuri could get here. I always say her name wrong. I think it's Azuri. It's Azuri, I think. She's just lovely, making sure they were safe, and they could get here safely. So we put them up at our Airbnb, and they stayed because we don't have hotels really here where I'm at. So it was a lovely time. It all worked out well. They were here with us for almost a full day, which was really nice. And then they would go on to the next place. So that was kind of the process. For Quilt Folk, they just emailed me and say, hey, we'd love to feature you, and, all that kind of stuff, and get them set up logistically. Okay, so the other part of the magazine, or the journal, it's hard to call it a magazine because I really feel like it's more like a book/journal. But the other part is they really focus on people and the places. So they talk about the stories, but then throughout the journal, they'll talk about different parts of a state. They talk in the very beginning about kind of what a state is about and the feel and the culture and all of that. And of course, we're here in the South, so it was quite a bit of about community and kindness and helping and hospitality and all of that here. It was what they really felt like and experienced. So what happens really is when you read it, it's like a journey of going through this quilty culture in that area. And they really try to meet makers and historians and museums and guilds and shop owners. And it's like a road trip through storytelling, basically, is what it's like. And you kind of feel like you're in there with them. And, you feel like the people that you're reading about, which is fascinating. And then this is really not just only for quilters, or not just for people looking for patterns. There's not patterns in here. It's really about those that are quilters that are just really looking for finding kind of the soul and the heart of quilters. Maybe where all kinds of things are talked about, struggles and successes, or really kind of weird paths to how they got there. So it's not just all, the fluffy stuff. So that's another part of it there too. As I mentioned, it's a keepsake, so it's not just a read. I collect all these. I have been for quite a while. I just never imagined I would ever be in one of these. So it truly was an honor, and I just am still shocked when I look at it that, my picture's in there. They also really celebrate diversity, so you'll really notice a lot of different people in there, from traditional to modern to people from all walks of life and backgrounds. And so they really focus on that as well. And then it also makes a thoughtful gift. So if you want to send someone a great gift, this is a really good one, especially if it's about their state, or it's a quilter that is in your life. You could even ask for this as a gift, would be a great gift too. And then of course their website. So that's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna pop on over to their website. So we're gonna pop on over here to the website. And let me get my mouse here. And here we go. So, can you all see that? We are on the Quilt Folk page. And if you can see here, you've got your tabs. This is kind of where we're at. And this is what they look like. And they kind of tell you up front, this is an ad-free magazine. It comes out quarterly, as I mentioned, and these are premium printed. Like, this is thick paper. It's not glossy or shiny. It's really kind of a vintage, kind of a bit of a vintage vibe, which y'all know, if y'all know me, I love older stuff and vintage, but it's a really neat look to it. So January, April, July, and October it comes out. It's print only, so it really is about, like, when you smell it, even smells like the fresh paper. It's just, it's just beautiful. And if you're not satisfied with it or anything, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So that's where you can subscribe if you want to get that on there. And then there's also, you can read a little bit on here about some of the people and explore, like, here's the current issue right here. So this is Arkansas. This is what the front looks like. And they're $22 if you buy them individually. I think when you buy the subscription, it's a little bit cheaper. So you can do one or both here. And so for Arkansas, what they did is they really kind of, this is an example of what they do for each of the states, but they really talk about the story, so you kind of feel like you're there. So, they talk about the lakes here and the rivers and our mountains that we have and the forests that we have here as well. And they really, truly try to immerse themselves into the area that they're at. These are all the folks there that were involved. Now this right here, this is the drone footage that Trevor did while he was here. So I'm gonna show that to you so you can see that here. And you're probably not gonna be able to hear the sound on it, but that was there. Whoops, let me go back. That's there on our property. So this is the bluffs of our retreat center. So he sent it off right here. We're right here. That's all of us right there. And then he put the drone up there, and then that was off our bluffs. So they went to Little Rock, and that was the capital there of Little Rock. And then this was going to see my friend Elizabeth, and then there were just more quilters. So this is kind of like the trailer, and they do one of these for each state. And just kind of little snippets that Trevor did while he was here. And there's Azuri. There's me painting. I'm doing my watercolor, and there's me there inside the house. There's my studio, some of the pieces there in the studio. So he kind of captures all of those little snippets. There's Jim out in the snow. Isn't that amazing when it was snowing? And so this is the trailer, and they do this for each one of the magazine or each one of the journals. And they kind of show these, all these photos are shown for about 3 months until the next issue comes out to really highlight, you know, that quarter there of all the quilt magazines and all the folks that were featured, quilt folks, you know, that were featured there. So these are all the folks that they took photos of. There's the museum in Little Rock, the State House, and these had some really neat old quilts in there, and you'll read about those as well. So they not only do the stories of the quilters, but also like the guilds and the museums, and the Arkansas Quilt Trail was also in here. And then, so you can see there's the quilt trail here, and they talk a little bit about that. And then for each one of us that were featured, they kind of do a short little bio in there for each person that's listed there. So you can see these are all the ones that were featured. There's Jim, and isn't his top beautiful? That color looks so good on him. And then this is the Modern Quilt Guild of Northwest Arkansas there. And then there's the State House Museum. Then there's some groups. So this is the Texarkana African American Committee Quilting Group there. And then these are my friends at the Hartzell Homestead. This is a quilt shop in Dover right outside of Russellville. And sweet, sweet family that runs that place. Alice McElwain, she's a certified quilt appraiser. She's here in Arkansas. And so here's just a bunch of pieces here that are in there, so you can kind of see a lot of the photos there. Okay, you also can become an email subscriber. I highly suggest you do that. You'll get updates and all kinds of things on there. You can submit a story when you know someone's coming to a certain state and you know someone there that does something interesting or they have a cool story. You can submit and recommend them. And you could also give a gift if you want. So here's all their social media handles for you to be able to follow them. Now, the other cool thing is they have workshops. So this is one right here. This is a world-class workshop that you can participate in. This one is the Mysteries of England. So you get like a ticket to basically immerse yourself in all of these kinds of activities. This is the block of the month, Quilting Through the Decades. There's a workshop series. This is finishing school. That's Mary Fons and her daughter, Marianne. There's on-demand workshops, which is super cool. So you can check all of those out as well. They actually also released the Menopause Makes book, which I think I showed you guys recently that I purchased, which is really nice. So then there's also adventure workshops too. So they have those sometimes that you can kind of go places with them. This is in England. I think that's what's going on right now. So yeah, if you love history and you want to learn all about those kind of things, you absolutely can check all those out there on that tab. Now, the other part, if you like shopping, is you can shop. And they carry everything from, there's the issues, the gift subscription, but I want to show you some of the goods that they have. So you can get really quality things from them. They have thread, they have the Swedish dishcloths, which are super cool, washi tape, they have lamps, there's thread, there's notebooks, there's patterns. I have these book darts. They're really fun. If you don't like huge bookmarks, these are really neat little vintage looking little bookmarks that you can use there to tab. Aren't those cool? They just have really unique stuff there. Let me see what else. We've got barn quilts that you can do. There's aprons. So just a lot of fun stuff there. There's patterns, blocks of the month, heirloom quilt ladders. They're carrying, let me see, they're carrying my alphabet clips also. So they were really sweet. They're like, we want to carry your alphabet clips and your patterns. So there's here, they've got me as Artisan of the Month, which is super sweet. So my Friendship Blooms pattern is there, and then my alphabet clips are there also. You can get a gift card if you want, a digital gift card for someone. They've got a lot of really good books, like thick books. I think the Menopause Makes, there it is. That's the one I was talking to you guys about last time, with that, and there's patterns in there. It's like got a whole envelope full of patterns in the back of this book. So Quilt Folk is more about just the journal. You actually can purchase things there from them. So I wanted you to really be able to see that there, so you knew kind of what their website looked like. But at a minimum, you should at least subscribe to their newsletter. It's fascinating. So there we go. There's the Arkansas edition for those of you that are interested in that. Okay, so let's come on back to home base here. There we go. All right. Any questions at all about that? Their website's pretty easy to maneuver, and so check that out if you get a chance. Chris put the link in there for you, and if you decide you want to subscribe, the coupon they gave me is good for 3 months. It's good till the end of June, and you can use it, to my understanding, for a single issue, the Arkansas issue, or the subscription. So I suggest that you do that while you can. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these magazines. Or, it's they call it a magazine, but really, like I said, it's like a journal. So here's my loot of all of my Quilt Folk magazines here. So I'm going to call out kind of all of the different states I have, and if there's one of you that one that you're kind of interested in, just kind of getting a quick overview. Like I said, I'm not going to zoom in for the stories or anything like that, but I do want you to be able to at least have a look into the magazine to see how well it's put together. So I've got Louisiana, Idaho, Maryland, Texas, North Carolina, South Dakota, Mississippi, California, Colorado, New Jersey, Georgia, Oklahoma, Washington, New Mexico, and Arkansas. Those are the ones I have. And I actually have an Oregon issue, which was their very first issue, that's on the way. So sometimes they'll reprint. If there's like a high demand for it, they'll reprint older ones, and then they'll have them. And that'll come out in an email for some reason, if those are available. And so sometimes when you order one, they'll do a deal for like half off for a second issue. So it's kind of I think a really cool deal. Okay. So any of those states, you can be thinking about that. I'm going to zoom in here on this Arkansas edition. Here we go. And kind of show you a little bit about what the magazine is like. So it's really cool. I love that they put folk and they put the definition of what that means. And that is a noun used as a friendly form of address to a group of people. Yeah, isn't that nice? And they usually started out with a really great photo of someone's quilts. And I'm not sure whose this one is. I think it mentions it somewhere. And then they mentioned, so the publisher is Michael McCormick, and I believe he's in Oregon. And then Brianna Briggs, she was just a wonderful editor to work with. She communicated so much with all of us through the whole process. And then you've got your creative director, you've got your copy editor, and you've got, your photographer, your stylist, that you've got the writers that actually interview. There's different writers that interview those of us that are featured in there, which is nice. And then Trevor actually did the foreword. So this is Trevor, the stylist. This is up on top of our bluffs up here where the retreat center is. And he actually wrote the foreword. And he actually grew up in the Ozarks. And he used to come to the Branson area, which is actually right across the Arkansas border in Missouri, for vacations, and he would come through Arkansas and stop. And now his brother lives in Little Rock. Even though he doesn't live in Arkansas, he was really tickled to be able to get to write the foreword in this one. So he was just a sweetheart, and he did that drone footage I showed you. So this right here, this is at our river house. This is one of our Airbnbs, and it was my grandparents' home. My grandfather actually built this crystal fireplace. This is our crystal fireplace here. And this actually is a really beautiful wooden bowl that my father, he was a carpenter before he was the manager of a shoe factory. In his earlier career, he kind of did both. He did all kinds of things to make enough money for us to go to school and have braces. He was always working 2 or 3 jobs and all of that kind of stuff. So that's one of his bowls that's on the mantle. So we have a river house, and then we have the brand new house that is the retreat center / Airbnb. So when it's not rented for quilting retreats, it's also available as an Airbnb. It's just we lock off and close the whole studio so that those that are Airbnbers renting it through the app can't get into the studio because we have I have all kinds of stuff out there, right, for quilters to use. So that's closed off. But right down the path is this river house, and it overlooks the Washita River. And we call it the Rustic River House. It was built in 1967, and Dad upgraded some stuff like the floors and the appliances and paint and all of that. But we left a lot of it true to my grandfather's original house. So this is the bookshelf and the fireplace. And this was one of the rescue quilts that I rescued at a flea market, actually in Waldron, Arkansas, when I was coming to visit Dad one time. And this is the bullseye quilt. And this was actually what inspired me to create my Fray Boxes quilt. And so Quilt Husband will drop that link for you in the website. You'll see my Fray Boxes quilt pattern was inspired because of this. So rather than it being circles of the frayed, you know, you put circle on top of circle, and then when you wash it, it frays, and it makes this really cool vintage, just cozy vibe. So Fray Box is doing that exact same thing, but it's with squares. And it's kind of wild. I had this huge distributor order just literally last week for it. So I don't know what happened somewhere that a bunch of quilt shops wanted it, but I got an order for like 50 of them, which is kind of a lot all at once. So anyway, this is that. And these are some of my rescued quilts that I rescue quilts when I find them at thrift stores or flea markets or Goodwill or whatever, because I just can't stand to think that they're there. Joyce, yes, I was born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I left Arkansas at 18. I moved to Washington State and lived there on Whidbey Island for a while. From there, I moved to Colorado. I lived in Denver. From there, I moved, I've been Colorado, Alabama, lived in Huntsville, Alabama, Springfield, Missouri, and then back to Arkansas. So I've kind of lived in a bunch of different places. Work always took me, the work that I did kind of took me around the country a bit. So anyway, then you've kind of got the index here that really talks about, you know, who's in here and what page and all of that kind of stuff. So I just about cried because I was shocked they used so many of my photos in other places besides, I shouldn't say my photos, their photos of stuff here in other places in the book. So then you can see they kind of map out the places that they went and places in between, and they really talk about the states. And the history and what makes it unique and all of that. And then they have some photos while they're on the road traveling to each quilter. They really stop and take photos of different things. So one of the things close to me, just 30 miles down the road, is Hot Springs. And that's where we have the mineral healing baths that you can take when you come. I actually did one this week after all the gardening. I was so sore, and you can get a massage and all of that. So this is Bathhouse Row, these two right here in Hot Springs. So if you ever come here and stay at either our Airbnb or retreat center, if you go to Hot Springs, you get the whole, it's very rustic and historic. Like, it's all original. So it's not swanky. It's very old, but you soak in these hot mineral baths that come out of the ground, and there's a lot of medicinal purposes to those. So anyway, those are kind of the photos, how it starts out, and then they kind of start a section called Meet here. And so they're going to talk to you about like the hospitality and who you're getting ready to meet. Now this was my Acorning Around quilt here, and this is one that was published in a magazine. It was my very first time to have a quilt published in Fawns and Porter, Quick and Easy Quilts. And so that was a surprise to see that there. And then it starts out with our stories. And so, you know, when you open it up, here's my Friendship Blooms quilt, and then the story starts there. And, you know, it's got all of the photos that they took while they were here. So you can kind of see some of that. There's Quilt Husband and I in front of our partial underground home. We live in a Frank Lloyd Wright inspired partial underground home, and it's kind of different and unique, and so they took some photos of that. This is in my studio here. My dad and my husband and I in front of the retreat home, and kind of some photos of the retreat center, and then up on the bluffs as well. So that's kind of what the book is like, is when you thumb through here, you'll see all the different stories of all the different ones that were featured here in the state. So you can kind of see kind of how that's structured. And then in the back, some of the photos that don't get, featured, there's not enough room for them, they'll put back here. And this was actually here on my vintage ruler. I have a vintage ruler coffee table. And here's what I was telling you. Those are all my Quilt Folk magazines right there that I keep. So This is here, over here to the right of me, where all of that is there. And that is my QuiltCon mini swap quilt. So I had just made this for my new friend. You meet them when you get to QuiltCon. You make a quilt for each other according to kind of colors and style that you like, and then you swap. So I made this for her. So she's just tickled that it ended up in this magazine. I didn't know it would be either. That was me trying to learn embroidery, so kind of all the embroidery stitches there. And then as it closed out, this is my quilt for QuiltCon. That was the back cover of the magazine. So I was just like shocked, like to see so many photos in here. I still kind of can't get over it, like that this is, you know, that this happened. So I'm really, really grateful. And it's definitely a memory for sure, to be able to have this. So I wanted to kind of show you a little bit about what Quilt Folk is about. So anybody, pick a state that you wanted to kind of see the cover. We got Washington. Someone's from Oklahoma, I think. Did someone say they were from Oklahoma in the chat? I can't remember. New Mexico, Washington, Oklahoma, Georgia, New Jersey, Colorado, California, Mississippi, South Dakota, North Carolina, Texas Hill Country. Oh, let me tell you, Texas Hill Country. I went to Texas Hill Country for the first time. It's like a whole another state within Texas. It's lush and green. I go to a women's art camp. It's an overnight art camp that I go to the end of the year every November, and it's just an amazing art camp to go to. But it's just a beautiful place to be. They've got like they're not really mountains, but there are a lot of hills. It's lush and green. There's like vineyards. There's like 30 vineyards. You can stop and taste wine all the way, although I don't suggest that if you're driving. But anyway, just really great articles. And they always have a beautiful cover. I love this one. This one is the Maryland issue. Isn't that beautiful? Look at all of that vintage ceramics there. This was a really special one called Family. This is the one for COVID during 2020 because, right, we couldn't really travel then. And so this was a very special edition. I think they're sold out of it because they had to try to cover and do this, to my understanding, kind of in a unique way. So there's that one there. This is New Mexico. This was the most recent one that came out right before Arkansas. But they're just some beautiful, beautiful quilts. This is Washington. My friend, y'all may know Charisma Horton. She was in this one. A lot of kind of that folk vintage vibe, which I absolutely love. You know, a lot of my stuff in here is secondhand and vintage. This one is Georgia. There's the Georgia cover. New Jersey. Okay, so Prepped for Eternity Homestead. Is it Jennifer? Jennifer, right? I'm trying to remember. North Carolina. Okay, you want to see North Carolina. I'll do a quick flip through. Let's see, where are we? North Carolina, North Carolina. Yep, there we go. Okay, here's North Carolina. This is the cover of North Carolina here. Yeah. And there's the back of it there. And just kind of do a flip through. You can just see some amazing photography. Like I said, I'm not going to really focus and let you read it from here because I don't want to violate any copyright, but I wanted you to be able just to kind of get a glimpse of just how amazing. I mean, large, large photos, and then everyone's story. So it's not just writing. I mean, there's really more photos than there is writing in here. And like I said, there's no patterns. It's literally all just people's stories and their quilts. And some of these quilts, I mean, museum-worthy quilts. And then some just have really amazing stories, right? You just never know about people's stories. I think in mine in here a little bit, they talked about when I was diagnosed with Lyme disease and how hard that was during that time. So, you know, there's all kinds of stuff that really can be covered in here in these magazines. So, yeah, Laura, you love Charisma. Isn't she wonderful? I think she has like 500 patterns. She's just like, she just churns them out, just constantly churns them out. So this is Quilt Folk, and like I said, I am a loyalist to this magazine. It is well worth the $22 per issue, or I think it's $80 if you do the subscription. I'd have to double check. Chris could probably double check for me, but it's worth it. And these are like coffee table worthy. I actually have one that I loaned to a friend 2 years ago, and I'm still trying to get it back from her because, you know, they're collector's items too. And you know, the thing is I'm like, once they're done with all states, it may be over. I don't know. I don't know if they would go back through again and do more. So it may be kind of a once in a lifetime kind of magazine, and then when it's over, right? They also have one that is, it's in the house, and it's a new one that just released last month. It's on different types of art. It's like an art version of this. This is all just about quilts. And I forget the name of it because it just came last week and I'm not used to it yet, but I did subscribe to that one because this is so amazing. And I do watercolor, and I kind of like to do things with other mediums sometimes, so I thought that might be a fun one to have. But this is Quilt Folk, and it's just, like I said, just a really, really amazing magazine. And of course now I'm even more partial just because, you know, they featured me in here for this one. So yeah, so do you guys have any questions at all about Quilt Folk? I'm curious to know, do any of you already subscribe to Quilt Folk Magazine at all? Or have you thought, did you even know about Quilt Folk Magazine? I know when I was a hobby quilter starting out, as soon as I saw like the emails and like the photos and stuff, where I'm like, wow, that is really well made. They do a really good job, and they're just wonderful. They're a small little company. I mean, they're like they kind of feel like family basically, which, you know, it makes sense. Like Quilt Folk, it just kind of feels like a really sweet quilty community. So they're wonderful, wonderful to work with. Can't say enough good things about the experience and all. So anyway, I know I'm going to do 2 classes. Well, I'm doing a trunk show when I get back from H&H Americas this month, and then I'm also teaching a class at 2 guilds here in Arkansas. So some of them are like, if I bring my copy, will you sign it? I'm like, well, sure. I don't really feel like I'm famous or anything, but you know, I'm happy to sign it. So for those of you that may be on that are from Arkansas, if you're going to be at the guilds in Russellville or Fort Smith, I'll be there doing my cathedral window class. So that's kind of my most popular class. I do a modern cathedral window where we don't do the old-fashioned way. We actually do a modern way that involves glue and all 3 layers, and you can actually make a full quilt in a short period of time, not 30 years like it used to be. Let's see. Okay, you didn't know about it, Jennifer, at all. Yeah, it's like literally, I mean, I get some quilting magazines. I don't get as many as I used to. Just on purpose, but this one is a must. If I only could have one, it would be this one if I had to pick for sure. So it's well worth the subscription for them for sure. And even if you're just partial to a certain state or something, you know, and you just want to just randomly do single issues, you can. But people's stories, I love people. I think that we have interesting stories and backgrounds that make us who we are. And you don't really know those things till you actually sit down and visit with people, and we can't always do that. But, you know, with these, we actually can read some of the stories and feel like we know each other better. And, you know, when you bump into each other at a quilt show or International Quilt Festival or whatever, you're like, oh, I read all about you. Like, I feel like you're, you know, a new quilty friend and I know you. So, yeah. Hey, Lisa. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. Yeah, sorry, no problem that you're late. I know Fridays are hard for you. My plan is to do Friday afternoon most times, but I've had to do the last 2 in the evening. Forget the reason why. We had to, well, it didn't work out. Quilt Husband had to take all those boxes, my distributor orders, to mail today, and he's usually kind of here helping me behind the scenes. So my plan is to get back to doing it Friday afternoons, and I'm thinking they're probably going to be, they were at 1, but I have been going to a weights class just to try to kind of lose some of this weight and get back in shape after my hysterectomy and build some muscle and get my muscles back. And so I need to kind of bump it to 2. So we're going to try for 2 Central Standard Time unless I'm out of town. So I will be at H&H Americas, and I may try to do a live from there. Now it'll be with my phone, so it's not going to be all fancy like this, but so that you all can see what a trade show is like. I'm going to try to do a live. I'll kind of have my gimbal there to kind of hold at least my phone so it won't be too shaky. We'll see how that goes. But they do have a booth there that you can sit and interview people in the booth and do your YouTube lives. But I'll probably take it around so you actually can see what a trade show looks like. It's not open to the public. So it's business to business. Excuse me. So what happens is we get to see the product that the public hasn't seen that's going to come out like in the spring. So, or in the summer. So what we're going to see now is stuff that's going to start coming out in the summer. And we get to it's called sample spree and all that kind of stuff. And all the businesses are there. The vendors are there from all the major companies. And, we have dinner, and I'm doing demos. So I'll be doing an English paper piecing demo. And I also will be doing a demo at the Thermo Web booth for Friendship Blooms and showing people how to do the turn and fuse method for the flowers on my Friendship Blooms pattern, which is I was standing in front of that quilt in this picture. Speaking of Friendship Blooms, I want to show you, I got my second one. I got it back from my long armor, Tia. This one is my scrappy version that I did of Friendship Blooms, and it's the smaller lap. So this is the square version. The one that's in Quilt Folk is the longer rectangle, large lap version. And so I used this blushed houndstooth. They are like a textured solid, which are super fun, and it's pretty scrappy. And I had a friend quilt it for me. I'm getting a long arm, y'all. The company's sending it to me. I didn't buy it, full disclosure. It's coming next month in June, so I'll be able to learn. I do not know how to use a long arm. I can use a sit-down long arm, but I've never used a regular long arm. So this is going to be a fun adventure. I'm going to be doing some YouTube lives on this, but it's on an 8-foot frame. So I'll be able to start doing my edge-to-edge, quilting on this rather than send them off to friends and, have them do them for me. So anyway, here it is. This is the scrappy version. And this one, I think I'm going to have Quilt Husband help me hold it. This one's going to be hanging at Bernina University in June. So here we go. Let me kind of go back. Let's step back here and maybe you can see all of them. There we go. There's all the blocks. Isn't that fun? So this is the scrappy version of what was in the magazine, except the magazine, it's got 2 more rows at the bottom. And I'll bring it up a little bit closer so you can see her quilting. I had her do little flowers on there. We'll see if you can see those, the quilting. Yeah, you can see, aren't those flowers pretty? So I've got to put the binding on it. It just came in a couple of days ago, and yeah, I know, Lori, I really like this one too. I mean, I did the solids what I released the pattern in Benartech solids, and they were in my branding colors. But this one is just a little bit of everything. I honestly like the scrappy version too. This one's going to be mine, even though I'm going to use it in a trunk show. I really want one for myself to use, and I think I'm just going to wash this one and start using it. So I'll be using it at a trunk show for both of my classes I'm teaching. When I show kind of my quilts and stuff, I'll be bringing both of these, and I've got to get it bound before the 15th when I head off to do that. So anyway, I'm glad you love the pantograph. Yeah, Marianne, isn't that nice? I don't know what it's called, but she sent me a couple of options to use, and I was like, oh, I like the one with the flowers. That's really, really super fun. So that's the one that I picked. So yeah. What else did I want to show you guys? Yes, Angela, I know. I'm so excited about the long arm. I am so excited. So when I was at Road to California, I was working with Sewing Machines Plus, and he hired me to come out and do demos with the King Quilter. So I have the King Quilter, which is kind of over in the corner. That's a sit-down long arm, okay? It's stationary. And so I use that machine for free motion quilting. But I don't usually free motion quilt my cover quilt patterns just because I want them to look perfect. And I'm not perfect at free motion. So I usually use that for smaller things, smaller quilts and like wall quilts and things like that, tote bags or, pouches or whatever. And so I met the engineer and the folks there with Butler Robotics. And so they make all of the computerized system that go on a lot of the long arms to be able to do the edge to edge. So anyway, I'm gonna be, doing some stuff with them. And so I was like, yes, I would love to learn how to use a long arm. So they're shipping it out, and 2 of the the women there are going to fly out and they're going to train me on how to use it, because I am a hands-on visual learner. And so they're going to come out, I'm going to put them up at the B&B, and then they're going to stay with me for 2 full days. We're going to set it up, and then they're going to train me how to use it properly so I don't screw up my quilts. So I'm really excited. They're coming the week of June the 9th. So I don't think we'll be doing a live that week because it's going to be a little chaotic in here, but I will do some lives with Belle learning how to use a long arm. This should be interesting. I know some of you probably know how, so I'll be interested to get some of your tips as Belle goes on the long arming journey, right? It's going to save some money for sure to not be sending these off to be done, because I can't keep up with quilting them myself. So anyway, a little bit about that. Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. Okay, something else I want to show you. So you remember when I did the Lovely Pinwheels kind of block quilt along in April for Child Abuse Prevention Month? And I think I showed you guys the quilt I made, which I've got to finish quilting. People are starting to send their blocks in. And I want to show you, I checked the mail yesterday, and this one came from Singapore. So I'm going to turn the overhead on here and show you. I literally opened them up, but I didn't like open up the blocks, so they're still folded. Like I looked in to make sure what it was. But this is from Mimi in Singapore, and she mailed it to me, and she added these cute little tags to use that are like little flowers. So this says happiness on there. I thought that was super fun from Singapore. She sent those. And then these are her blocks. So what's happening is people are mailing me their blocks, and then I'll be putting them all together in Scrappy. Like they're all different colors. So it'll be interesting how these look. I'll put them all together for Scrappy quilts, and they'll be donated to my local Children's Advocacy Center. Oh, yeah. The local Children's Advocacy Center, and make the quilts for kids there that have been abused. Hey, Susan. Oh, thank you so much. So, Susan, I used to live in Bremerton. I lived on Whidbey Island, and then from there went to Bremerton, and then to Port Orchard. Is it Port Orchard? Oak Harbor. Sorry, Oak Harbor. It's been a long time. I was 20 years old when I lived there, and now I'm 50, so it's been 30 years ago. I loved it there. I just didn't love the rain. But thank you so much. Yeah, so those are the blocks from Mimi in Singapore. And then I got, it looks like it's a duo. I think it's 2 friends, and they just mailed all theirs together. It's from Mackenzie and Sally in California. And I haven't even opened up theirs, but let's look at their blocks. She says, greetings from California. What a great cause and kind heart you had. We're happy to contribute. Mackenzie and Sally. So here are their blocks. Oh, looks like I got 4. So I may have, I'm getting close to enough for a full quilt. So there's one there. And there's another one. Oh, aren't those pretty fabrics? Okay, one of them did 1, and then another one did 2 of the blocks. So I'm just collecting all these, and I'll slowly put them into basically patchwork quilts and get them quilted up throughout the year and donate them to my local Children's Advocacy Center. So I know you guys have been on when, if you can look back, if some of you are watching this for the first time, this is you're watching the recording. If you go back to my Lovely Pinwheels live episode, it's linked in there to be able to get the child size pattern, and you can make the full quilt yourself and donate it to your local Children's Advocacy Center. Or if you just want to make some blocks and send them to me, I'm collecting them and we'll put them together throughout the year to make the quilt for the kids. So I'll go grab it really quick and show you what it looks like for those of you that are kind of here for the first time. This is mine. This is the one I finished up this last month, and I've actually got to quilt it and put it together. So this is the size of the quilts here. And this was just fabric that I had. So I've really encouraged people not to buy any fabric. Literally just use your scraps. And I kind of tell you in the information there on how you can just, use your scraps to be able to make it. Oh, wait, there is another one. Hey, there's another one. I missed that one. Okay, they each did send 2. Look at that. There we go. There's little kitty cats on this one. So we've actually kind of got blues and pinks. So yeah, I'll just have to kind of figure out how, but these are all gonna go together and I rotate the blocks in there. So this will be really fun. I mean, this is gonna be totally scrappy. Nothing's gonna match, right? Won't that be fun? I can't wait to see all of these. So thank you to Mimi and to Mackenzie and to Sally for sending theirs. And I think more people are sending theirs also. So anyway, if you guys want to participate, go back and look at that previous video there and check those out. Now, some people have had some questions about my retreats. I've gotten emails about it. People have been asking, especially since the article came out. So I want to show you a little bit about how this works. Let's see here. So you can kind of know what is going on with that. Okay, so this is my website. And if you click on Quilting Retreats on my website, the way this works is you have someone is your group coordinator. So if it's your 6 quilt besties, one of you gets to be the leader, right? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That person basically can hop on here and look. It tells you where it's located. It's in Pencil Bluff, which is just about 10 miles down the road from me. And then you're able to kind of look and see how many people it sleeps, and there's RV hookups. So basically the way it works, I can have up to 10 people comfortably. I can really fit 12 if it was like, oh my gosh, we have to have 12, but 10 is really the sweet spot for the space. If you want 10 people, we open up the river house for lodging for 10, because at the new house, which is this one right here that was featured, all of this is in the new house right here that was featured in the magazine, that will sleep 6. There's 6 twin XL beds, and then there's 2 RV hookups on either side of the house. So over here and over here are the hookups for RVs. So if between the 2 RVs, you could get 4 more people, like 2 in each one, you could have 10 people all just in this house. But if you really want 10, you would have to have like either 5 in that house and 5 in this one, or 4 down there and 6 in this one, or however y'all wanted to split it up. That's kind of how that would be. So we talk a little bit about what's there, you know, at the retreat center. There's some photos here. It tells you the size of the hookups and the RV size of how that would fit in there, you know, so that you don't have one that's too big. Then it talks a little bit about the bedrooms. So there's 2 bedrooms. One bedroom has 2 twin XL beds, and there is a master bedroom that has 4 twin XL beds and like a bathroom that's connected to it. And then the other smaller bedroom with the 2 twins have a bathroom like right next to it. There's the reinforced frames. They're brand new mattresses. All the stuff is new. Like everything is new as far as the sleeping stuff there. We added handbars for the bathrooms, just with it, you do have to step over the tub. So we added those for safety in there. We've got the oversized kitchen, which you can see here, and then there's a slideshow as well. Then all the details about the studio are in here. So this tells you everything that I've got 14 sponsors that have sent stuff, so you don't have to bring as much stuff like your irons and your pressing mats, and you don't have to bring your lights. I've got daylight lights in all of the areas. Sewing machines plus, since these really nice thick foam pads there for your sewing machines to sit on. I've got notions there for you. And then you've got the bluffs, you've got the gravel private trails to walk on. You can walk down to the river, you can swim, you can find crystals on the property, or you can go dig somewhere else. Everybody gets a goodie bag because the sponsors send me stuff to give you all. If you're flying, I've got the airports listed there, and then the group rates. So basically, if there's 6 of you, it's $83 a night. Per person, basically, so it's $250. And then if you have the RV folks come, it makes it a little bit cheaper, and that's for the one house there, and it includes taxes and the cleaning fee, and it's a minimum 3-night stay. And then you can check in at 10, and then lots of times I let people check out at noon if they want to have a little bit of a late morning to check out. If you want extra nights, it's cheaper. It's $400 per night, but it's divided up among those 6 people. And then kind of how this works. So the group coordinator is the one that really kind of contacts me, and I communicate with them. And because there's, you know, a little bit involved with being the leader, the group coordinator gets access to my quilt pattern tester course. It's a workshop for free, and then a Yazzie bag as well. And so they usually get that, and I usually throw in another free gift also. And so it just basically tells you where to book your request. So when you click, it'll take you down here to fill out this form to tell me, you know, your group name, an email, and a phone number, and then like the name of your group. Like I ask you to come up with like a fun little name so I can identify you. And, you know, she'll mail in your deposit, and then there's dates too on there. You can see what's open and what's not. This is the video on here if you want to see what it's all about. So this is the visual tour here of Seam Sew Me. So it's a gated community here. I say community, it's our gated estate. Can y'all see that okay? Okay. Oh, okay. I can't full screen it apparently. Let me go back. Not done full screen. Okay. So it just tells you if you want to watch it, you can see. And this actually, it looks a little bit slightly different. There's shutters, Dad custom built shutters that are on the house, and there's more foliage and flowers and all of that there compared to what's now, because this was about a little over a year ago. But there's the long porch and all. And now that looks like a garage from the outside, but it's actually the whole quilting studio, because after he built it, the foundation, I said, when I came to visit, I'm like, what is this? He's like, it's going to be a B&B. I was like, oh my gosh, can we not have a garage? And I turned that into a big quilting studio. He's like, sure. So he went along with it. He's been my other great partner besides my husband in all of this. So this is the inside there. And like I said, this is all built. He did it himself and some help. So this is the living room area here. And then there's another area, kind of a sitting area over in the back. And this is the kitchen. So there's a really large kitchen, granite countertops. And these are the kind of drawers that you just bump them and they close, you know, automatically. So that is the retreat, inside of the retreat house. You got your coffee and tea area there. You've got a big laundry room. This is the master bedroom. So you can lay there and talk with your quilty friends at night if you want. And then there is a really big closet in there. There's actually two really large closets, plenty of hooks for all 4 people for the bathrooms. You got a soaker tub there there's your handrails that I mentioned to you all. This is the smaller bedroom with the 2 twin XL beds. Also a closet. There's a TV in that room. And all the pillows on each of those beds, each pillow represents one of my quilt patterns. So it's a block from one of my quilt patterns. Now that door right there goes out into the studio. So it's connected. You literally can just go out there in your PJs if you want to quilt. Now this was before I got the mats from Sewing Machines Plus, so you're not seeing the blue mats on the tables, but there's 3 pressing stations, 2 cutting stations. That's my Notion shop right there in case you forget things. That's the AccuQuilt station there. This is a big design wall back on that side. There's all the AccuQuilt stuff and the dies. There's Notions there for you to use. AccuQuilt sent all of this, and you can bring your other dies if you want to. That's the free block bag case for the group coordinator that kind of does all the work with communicating with me and setting it up. And I do teach a class if people want that. So if there's any of my classes, particularly my cathedral window class is what people ask a lot about. That can be an add-on, but otherwise you just do your thing. You all do your thing, and I just pop in to drop off a homemade pie if I'm in town. If I'm not in town, I have a retreat assistant, and she bakes the pie and she brings it by for you if I'm not there. There's another design wall. Feltright sent all of that for there to be a design wall there. Aliso sent all the irons, so there are all the Aliso irons that are there. You can see. And there's lots of, all the sponsors, you know, I've got all their information. Everyone gets fabric from Benartex, so you usually get fat quarters or things like that. Sew Tots, you've got all creative grids, rulers, you've got Havels, rotary cutters, your large ones, your small ones. So there's a lot of stuff that you don't have to bring. You really just need to bring your, you know, your projects that you want to work on and your sewing machine, really. And then there's the Arrow sewing chairs. So Arrow sent all of those as well. There's a TV in there if you want it. There's air conditioner and heat. And then if you want to take a break, we're on 45 acres. So you can go out. A lot of times people just want to take a break and go on a walk and go down to the river. So this is telling you, oh, you can go to the bluffs or you can go to the river. So if you want to go to the river, you're going to walk down here. And again, it's going to give you another option. Do you want to go onto the river or you want to go to the bluffs? My grandfather built this rock wall right here on the left-hand side back in 1967. So here's the river. This is the Washita River. And you can swim. This is where my brother and I learned to swim when we were little. You could bring a kayak and kayak out there if you want. It's just a really peaceful place to be. Those are the steps. He built all of those out of concrete. I think somewhere are some initials of myself and my brother when we were little, somewhere on those rocks. And there we go. We're heading back up the path. But you can see there's just lots of trees. And we live in a national forest. This is the Washita National Forest. And we just are fortunate enough to be right in the middle of it in Montgomery County. So this is Montgomery County, Arkansas. So now you can go back to the retreat center if you want up that way, or you can go to the left and you can go up to the bluffs. And so that's actually the route here, is the walk up to the bluffs. So Dad keeps it mowed, and you've got the road there. He rides the four-wheeler up there quite a bit to keep the road, well maintained. And when the video was formed, he had just done some more clearing out of underbrush, which those little piles have been burned and they're gone now. But he does that just to kind of keep things tidy. So this is one peak of the bluffs, and there's a swing up there that you can set in. He's in the swing rocking right here, and you can see that view there of the Washita River. Or you can keep on walking and you can go up to the highest peak, which this is my favorite spot. And this is where Trevor's photo was taken that I showed you in Quilt Folk. And then one of the quilts, the photos was taken up here. You also can swing up there also and just enjoy a cup of coffee or relax. You can walk down to a lower peak here and sit there and look at the river. So this is all there on the retreat center property for you to be able just to check all of this out. We do have a few bars for you not to walk over to decide to climb down the bluffs, just for safety reasons. And I do have people sign liability waivers, just, in case. So that's the bluffs there. And then now we head back down to the retreat center. And along the way, the trail, you'll see lots of times the quartz crystal. You can pick those up and take them. We just ask people not to be digging with shovels and stuff, but you're welcome to take those that way. Then there's the crystal fire pit. So this is that right next door to the retreat center, and you can sit and build a fire out there with your friends or have your coffee and visit and get some fresh air. So you can just see it's right next to the retreat. Yeah, so there we go. So that is your tour of the quilting retreat here. All right, here we go. Any questions? So that's like the full tour. You saw 3 pictures in here, one of me and Dad and Chris in front of it, and then there was 2 more of like the inside of the house. But that's really kind of the tour of the retreat center that they talked about in here that we just opened not even a year ago. So it was I think the end of last July. And then I was kind of out with a hysterectomy for a few months. So anyway, we're really just getting started with people coming in. I have a group coming in on, let's see, Wednesday. Good night, Brenda. Thanks for joining us. We're glad that you came. So I have a group coming in on Wednesday. So I'm going to be getting ready for them to be here. But anywho, well, friends, we have been on for an hour, and I just wanted to share with you all the things, particularly about Quilt Folk, and why I think it's just a great journal to be able to subscribe to, and just kind of show you a little bit about a peek of the Arkansas edition and just what a privilege it was to be in there. So thank you for being with me. Lisa, I know you miss it. I know it's a wonderful place to live. My husband still tells me, he's like, I feel like I'm on vacation. And we've been back here 1.5 years now. He's like, I feel like I'm just out in B&B. Yes, Susan, you need to get you some Quilty Gal Pals. Now, let me tell you, on my website, so on the website I just showed you, the Quilting Retreat website, there's a place that tells you if you are a solo quilter and you don't have any gal pals to quilt with, you can join my Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group called Seam Sew Me Retreats at River Glen. And you can join that group and you guys can try to form your friends there, like pull out enough individual solo quilters to form your group. I unfortunately don't have time to like coordinate and like open it up to like take individual people, put them in certain rooms, who can room with who snores, who doesn't, like all of that. I just don't have the time to do that. It's possible I might at some point, but for now, it's group coordinator led. And so I opened up that group because there were some people that were like, I don't have any friends to go on retreats with. And I'm like, well, here's a place for you to make new ones. So if you want, just go to that link on my website that tells you can join the Facebook group, introduce yourself, and someone in there can try to be the group coordinator and say, hey, I want 4 people to, let's go, here's some dates we could do it, and maybe Susan, that'll work for you to be able to set it up that way. All right? Okay, Lori, well, you have a great weekend too. I won't be on live Monday like normal because I'll be packing and I fly out Tuesday morning to Chicago for H&H Americas. So I will see you guys possibly on the live from H&H Americas if I can get all that to work with my phone to do a live there. Otherwise, I'll see you when I get back. I may be on tomorrow for Stitchin' Saturday. I actually need to work on some blocks, actually some more Friendship Blooms blocks for my demo. And I'm actually making a kid size quilt for a friend that's having a baby. And I'm gonna use those blocks to show the technique of putting those appliqued flowers on top. So I've got to get those blocks ready. So you might see me on here just for Stitchin' Saturday, and that's where you bring your own project and we just talk and we quilt together. So if I do, you'll see me post the thumbnail and all of that stuff tomorrow. All right, friends. Well, thank you for being with me on Thread Life with Belle. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. You're enjoying some spring. I plan to have a great trip. I get to see my quilt bestie, Maud, the retro quilter. If you guys watch my last live, I talked about the package she sent me with the chandelier from Canada and the book and all the things. So yeah, that's where I'm headed to see her. I haven't seen her in about 1.5 years. All right, friends. Well, you guys have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you soon. And until next time, quilty friends, make lovely things.